Back. Okay, so today we are going to be talking all about this full moon in Pisces happening on the 30th of August. So might just give it to see who joins, though I guess the comment section. So Gabriella, you said that the full moon in Pisces takes place on your birthday. Well, happy birthday to you for the end of the month. I hope you have a wonderful day. So we're going to get into this. So I will just show this presentation. How are we doing? Hope you're having a nice weekend. I feel like it's been so long since I went live. I feel like it's been a minute. So yes, the full moon in Pisces, there's quite a bit to get through today. Danielle, hello, hi, how are you? How is your weekend going? Are you having a nice weekend? Hope even work has been going well for you. So as I say, the full moon will happen on the 30th of August. So the very last day of August. Cannot believe that we're coming into autumn very, very soon with the autumn equinox taking place. I love autumn. It is my favorite season. What is your favorite season? Let me know. Good, Danielle. I'm glad you're doing good. Yeah, I'm actually doing quite good today. I cut the grass. Glad to have got that done. Recorded a video. Now I'm on here. I might watch Lilo and Stitch after this live stream. Have dinner, watch Lilo and Stitch. Perfect. Hello, Alexander. How are you doing? Hi. Just because the way it's spelled. And Brittany, hi, hello, woohoo. Yes, bring on fall. Who is here for fall? Who is here for autumn? Okay, who's here for Halloween? Who loves Halloween here? Halloween is just the best. I love just going into the shops, having a browse, seeing what they have. And yes, it's still summer, but you know what? So many people are doing it. It's great. And Christopher, hello, hi from California. Well, hello to you from Belfast. And hello to you, Christina. Hi, little pumpkin, Brittany, love it. Yes, you're here for autumn. Love it. Spooky season, exactly. What are your favorite horror movies? Do you like horror? Right. It's going to become a live stream all about spooky season and Halloween and everything. But anyway, right, before we do get into this presentation about the full moon in Pisces, I just want to make you aware of my astrology products. So I do have an Etsy, okay, for those of you who may or may not know. I will link everything in the description box, but my Etsy has my digital products, so looking at the astrology eBooks and the cheat sheets and the astrology guide that I created. And also you can even find these products on my website, hannahselsewhere.com. You can also find my merch over there, and you can also book a reading with me. There's always that. Okay. Oh, Brittany, you said you can't watch scary movies anymore. You don't like horror movies. Sorry, Danielle, you said you don't like horror movies much, but you love spooky stories. Ooh. Yeah, certain scary horror movies can be a lot, you know. And then Danielle, you said that you're from Michigan. Is that the east coast of the US? Is it the east? And you said Amor. Hi, Amor to you. You're from Texas. Oh, I would love to visit Texas. I really would. Okay, so I just love I love chatting with you guys in the comment section. But okay, so I'm going to go over some of the aspects that we're going to be touching on today. So this full moon is going to take place at 7 degrees. And it's actually going to make a conjunction to Saturn retrograde. And then this means that Saturn and the moon will oppose the sun. Okay, so Saturn will be opposing the sun. Also, Neptune will be in Pisces, Neptune retrograde. Of course, Neptune is one of the dispositors of this full moon. This will then oppose the Virgo energy. So looking at Mercury retrograde and Pallas. Yes, Mercury retrograde is coming up in just a couple of days. Whew. Yes, it's coming up in a couple of days. And so it's going to happen from the 23rd of August right up until the 15th of September. Make sure to check out the Mercury retrograde in Virgo video that I have on the channel if you want more information about that. So yes, Neptune will oppose Mercury retrograde. It will also oppose Pallas. The degree to Pallas will actually be stronger, so we're going to touch on that today. Jupiter then, which is the other dispositor of this full moon, it is going to be, well, it's in Taurus right now, but yes, it will be in Taurus during this full moon. And Jupiter in Taurus will square Venus retrograde in Leo as well. We're currently experiencing this square at the moment. And then Pluto retrograde in Capricorn will create a bit of a grand Earth trine with Uranus and Pallas. Uranus being in Taurus and then Pallas being in Virgo. Then if we also draw our attention toward Mercury retrograde once again, there will be a trine to Jupiter. So yeah, we're going to connect everything together today. Though the last kind of parts of this that I want to mention is Mars. Mars is on the move. Mars is entering Libra on the 27th of August. There will be a video coming out to do with this transit, so stay tuned for that. I hope to get that up to you this week. So yeah, Mars will enter Libra, and Mars will be in Libra during the full moon, and Ceres is also there. The South Node is there, and then there will be a trine to Vesta in Gemini, so we'll touch on that. And then just finishing off, looking at a couple of inconjunctions. The interesting thing about this is that Juno will inconjunct the moon. Both will be 7 degrees. And then Lilith will inconjunct Neptune, both at 26 degrees. Yeah, so we're going to get into that today. Christina, you said you're from Texas as well. And Maura, you said it's so hot right now. Oh my gosh, how many degrees are we talking here? Oh, oh. Danielle, you said it's kind of northern, but kind of Midwest, you think. Oh, okay. Okay, Midwest. Okay. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with all of the states in the within the US. Okay, so like I said, the full moon is going to happen at 7 degrees. So we got to think about the number 7 in numerology. It's quite fitting, actually, when we connect this in with the full moon in Pisces, because the number 7 is quite a spiritual number, full of wisdom, looking at knowledge, understanding, looking at a lot of the introspection, the reflection. And that's the thing about moons, new moons, full moons, there's a lot of reflection that happens. So yeah, very fitting, I would say, even with the spiritual side of things, because Pisces is such a spiritual sign. So we're going to really notice then a lot of these spiritual themes during this full moon. I even just think closing off August, there will be a lot of reflecting in terms of, okay, we're starting to move away from the summer. We're about to welcome autumn here. So this is a good time to do a lot of releasing, shedding. Okay, looking there at the full moon keywords. This is what we do during full moons. So with that in mind, consider shedding and releasing with respect to Pisces, which we'll get into. And the other thing about this degree, the 7 degrees, is it's a Libra degree. So I think, I think there is something to be said here about balance and harmony, restoring the balance. Even today, the day that this live stream is taking place, the moon is in Libra. And the horoscope that I wrote up for this day today, I talked about restoring the balance, considering, for example, how much you've been overworking, okay? How much you've been socializing this week. I know for me, I've socialized more than usual. And so today could be used as a way to restore our emotional skills, to balance out our emotional skills. But I think with the full moon being at 7 degrees here, this is going to look at the restoring of our emotions, but perhaps on a more wider scale, given that this is Pisces, even looking at those spiritual elements once again. And the final thing to say with this is a Pisces kind of deacon. So this is a Pisces deacon. So this is going to amplify the Pisces keywords, the Pisces energy. And I've also mentioned there that when it comes to full moons, there's a lot of reaping, shedding, but there's also clarity. All right. There can be clarity, understanding, illuminating, and we're going to get into this, reaping rewards as well. So we're going to get into these things as we break the information down. And more, you said 100. Christina, you said 105. feels like 107. I'm assuming that's Fahrenheit. I'm not too sure what that is in degrees, because here where I'm from, we would say degrees. I'm gonna guess maybe like 40 degrees. Not too good at that, but yeah, it's fine. I mean, in the hundreds, I'm pretty sure that is really hot. Hopefully you can cool down. Christopher, it's been in triple figures for a while now. Whew. Whew, whew. Yeah, thinking of you then, because yeah, that heat. It's so uncomfortable, isn't it? It's so uncomfortable, and then even when you put on a fan, it's just like it's almost like it circulates the hot air around the room anyway. uh, Lauren, hello. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, I do apologize. But hello to you. I hope you're doing well. So let's get into some keywords to do with Pisces. What is this sign all about? What's this archetype all about? And at the same time, do consider the fact that we'll be in Virgo season, right? So there's still going to be these themes coming up to do with Virgo, and during full moons, you got to take into consideration both of the signs. Looking at the axis basically. But let's go over Pisces for a moment. Let's focus on Pisces. So I think when it comes to Pisces, especially with the moon being there, this will give us an opportunity to really tap into our imagination, to really be creative as well, to visualize, to dream. And perhaps even many of us will wish to spend time alone, okay? And perhaps as well, following on from this point, this could be where we shed old skin to do with the ways in which we spend time alone. So anything, for example, that you are maybe depending on, anything that you find difficult to let go of because it's just there's that emotional connection, there's that emotional tie. This could be a good opportunity to really reflect, to reconsider. We'll talk more about that, of course, because Saturn coming into the equation, it does add an element of maturity here and honesty. Even with Saturn being in Pisces since the 7th of March. Pretty sure it's been there from the 7th of March, but that would be something I would just need to double check. But still, since March, we've been recognizing these themes then to do with emotional maturity, setting healthy emotional boundaries, thinking even about self-respect. I think there's a great deal of self-respect that's been coming up for many of us. And then also I think a lot of trust has been coming into the equation. So basically, this full moon could very well welcome our ability to let go, our ability to see, what, this really is not working for me. This boundary that I'm trying to set that's not being respected, or perhaps we realize that we're not taking care of ourselves very well, or it's that we're being self-sacrificing too much, or we're putting ourselves in the last position. Or it's that we are perhaps just not really taking the time to refuel, to recharge. Pisces energy is that energy of, what, I'm just going to take a minute. I'm going to take a minute to be on my own and to be in solitude. Now, the other thing is we could very well be closing some chapters to do with spiritual concepts, spiritual ideas, even thinking about our spiritual practices. We've noticed this, I think, even with both Neptune and Saturn being in Pisces. It's I think a lot of questions have come up to do with spirituality, to do with morality as well. Even for myself lately, perhaps this is somewhat more philosophical, but I suppose Pisces is still a highly philosophical sign. But for me lately, I have been really diving into things like fate, free will. Do we have free will? Is fate real? Looking at destiny, looking at karma. Pisces is such a karmic sign. So anyways, I think that this full moon will even highlight these themes, especially with Saturn making that conjunction, or even just reflecting heavily upon the past couple months, right? Saturn is still retrograde there, so it's almost like anything that has come up since March, when it comes to our own beliefs in terms of spirituality, in terms of philosophy. Okay, this could be a good opportunity to do a lot of that reflection and to go inward and to really rethink a few things. And possibly as well, this is about reaping rewards with respect to generosity, with respect to compassion, to being caring. Could be even a very healing time. Pisces is such a healing orientated sign. Pisces comes along and helps us just is it recalibrate, is that the term, or just to go inward and to consider our own inner healing and to address our own inner peace. And there's a lot of wisdom that Pisces has to offer us as well. So yeah, I think that this could be an opportunity for us to reap rewards in this way. But perhaps too, considering here the reaping of rewards, there's just something about the Pisces archetype that suggests how just being giving, being charitable, being generous, and doing so from your heart, doing so because you want to, that in a way comes back. I suppose that's the whole karmic part of it, isn't it? When you just, your actions and what you put out there, you'll get back. So in terms of the generosity, it could be that we discover that things align very well. Things start to go in a certain direction that we're quite satisfied with, or it's that we feel full, we feel fulfilled. Looking at that emotional fulfillment. So yeah, I can't help but think that these themes are going to come up. And then the last kind of part of this that I want to mention before we break things down is just illuminating the ways in which we dream and imagine, or looking at the illuminating of the ways in which we escape, and anything that may be quite unhealthy for us in terms of emotional crutches, in terms of different forms of escapism, which may not serve us very well. That was a thought that I was trying to bring up earlier in terms of escapism. But yeah, I think the full moon in Pisces is really going to come along. It's going to go, is that really the best thing for you? Even with the sun in Virgo, that is strongly tied to health, the physical body. And I guess Pisces and Virgo both are tied to the body and healing and purification and cleansing, looking at renewal. It could even be during this full moon that there's this illumination of sorts with respect to any suffering in our lives. Okay, so I just think with the full moon here, there can be qualities that point toward, okay, I'm feeling centered, I'm experiencing inner peace, but at the same time, it could be that there are moments of reconsidering what is good for us, what is healthy for us, and which types of things in our lives in terms of what do we need to let go of. Let's see. Okay. Alexander, you said, did I see Oppenheimer? No, I have not been to the cinema in so long. Do you know what? Probably the next time I go to the cinema, it's going to be when June 2 comes out. Love June. Such a good movie. Me and my partner love it. So yeah, probably that's November time, I think. That's probably gonna be the next time. Yeah, but I would like to see Oppenheimer, and I may wait for it just to come out, to watch it on television. Have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? Christopher, you said the electricity has been out for 3 days. What? Really? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Oh my gosh, no. Oh. Christina, you said you've been having a dream of people of your past and telling them no and walking away. Here, that's a thing to do with this full moon dreams, right? Consider mythology, consider spirituality, symbolism. Yeah, your dreams can perhaps be communicating something. That's a very Pisces thing to say. you know what? You just triggered something within myself there, Christina, in terms of a memory, right? You triggered a memory. So I was actually dreaming last night, and I'm not very good at remembering my dreams. I don't think many people are. But so as soon as I woke up, I looked up the dream symbolism, just looked it up on Google just to see a bit. And so I had a dream about a tarantula, a tent, and a bus. Okay, so those are the three main things I saw in my dream. So I have them on my phone, and I'm going to read through them maybe later on. Thanks for reminding me of that, because from your comment, you triggered that memory. But yeah, I think then with this respect, the full moon in Pisces could very well illuminate our dreams. Okay. Lauren, you said, yeah, 100 Fahrenheit, which is 37. Oh, 37 Celsius. Oh my gosh, I'd be dying. I would be dying. Oh my goodness, thinking of you guys. And Christopher, oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Christina, you said awesome. Dreams. Okay, so let's now look at some of these aspects. So what I want you to consider is the fact that there was a new moon in Pisces at the beginning of the year, which to me, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, how how has it been half a year already? You know, I'm pretty sure the new moon in Pisces was the first moon cycle that the first moon phase that I went live during. And back then I was just so nervous. I still do get really nervous when it comes to these live streams. But yeah, I'm thinking that was 6 months ago. That's crazy. Anyway, new moon in Pisces, that was back in February. That was at 1 degree. And the thing I want you to keep in mind with this is, so Saturn was in Aquarius at that time, coming to the end of its transit. Saturn was coming to the end of transiting Aquarius, and it made a conjunction to the moon. So we're kind of noticing then again Saturn making another conjunction to the moon. This time the part of the story changes. Okay, back then perhaps there were more themes to do with sort of collective themes. So thinking about certain teams you're a part of, certain groups you're a part of, certain friendships you're a part of, or even reconsidering, how it is that you would like to have reinvented yourself back then. Okay. And new moons, we set new intentions. So it's sort of like we were setting new intentions to do with the likes of spirituality and compassion and healing, etc. But there was also the Saturn in Aquarius part of it, which sort of invited just more of an innovative feel, or really looking at the bigger picture, or considering how it is that you wish to show up within society. Now, with that being said, the thing about this particular full moon is, so it's going to happen at 7 degrees, which this is part of a certain other cycle, which is tied to the new moon in Pisces during March. So looking at March 2022, and that was at 12 degrees. So if you can think back to March 2022, and Jupiter was actually in Pisces making a conjunction to the new moon back then. Jupiter being in Pisces, for many of us, I think really expanded upon our spiritual awareness, or it expanded upon even just trusting, trusting in the flow, trusting in the process, these types of things. But Saturn now, I think, coming along, it's sort of going, okay, yes, I get that you were setting new intentions to do with being guided, to do with trusting the flow, etc. But this time around, this is about, okay, well, what have you really learned here? What have you learned, and what actually would you also like to let go of? Anything that's maybe too that's too all over the place, or dreamy. Maybe dreamy is the better word for Pisces. Anything that is quite unrealistic, perhaps, something that's unrealistic, something that is actually is unobtainable. And that may be that may really contradict the whole thing in terms of manifestation. A lot of people talk about manifestation in terms of you can achieve whatever you want in life. This type of attitude. Eh, eh, can we achieve everything we want in life? Eh. mm. I think Saturn and Pisces is maybe coming along and it's going, uh, maybe just really consider here the practicalities of things. Anyway, maybe that's just my own kind of views on the matter coming into the equation. But I do think that Saturn coming along here, it's bringing more of this like realistic quality, or more so looking at limitations and being okay with limitations, being okay with that. And this is something that I've been kind of exploring a little bit, okay? Going back to fate versus free will. So this is a video that's going to come out on the channel very, very soon. Just need to edit it. But we consider fate, for example, right? In the video, I basically said that perhaps my fate is that, okay, I have a Capricorn stellium in the 5th house. Okay, refer this to your own chart. Okay, look at your own chart. But yeah, let's say my fate is that I have a Capricorn stellium in the 5th house. This is my fate, right? But that within itself is a limitation, and that's okay, right? That is a limitation. And for example, I'm never going to have a Leo stellium in the 12th house. It's not going to happen. Even by progression, that's not going to happen. Yes, sure, it could happen maybe by solar return, but that's not the same thing as, even looking at natal placements or progressions, it's not the same thing. Now, some could argue that past lives exist. And so maybe in the next life, I will have that Leo stellium in the 12th house, and that's going to be part of my karma. That's going to be part of my fate, so on and so forth. But I think fate can actually help in terms of, right, this is a limitation, and that's okay, right? It's like accepting that that is a limitation. So yes, maybe Saturn in Pisces is highlighting just the acceptance of limitations and certain boundaries, and how in actuality they can be really helpful, and they can even bring a sense of peace. It's almost like, you know, it's almost like me being able to look within myself and to accept that I live the life that I live. But if I was to, sure, okay, you can get inspired by other people, etc. But if I am to look outside of myself and think, oh my gosh, like I really want $10 million. I could look at other certain, people who have that much money who present it on Instagram. I could look at celebrities, etc. But that kind of in a way can take me away from my inner peace, from the acceptance of I have what I have. Maybe I'm even leaning toward the whole stoicism philosophy. You can probably tell I've been kind of looking into philosophy a little bit more lately, and I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about with it. But yeah, basically, essentially, just to wrap this up here, I think this Saturn influence with the conjunction to the moon is going to really illuminate then the accepting of certain boundaries and limitations, and then also looking at emotional maturity, reflecting upon how much you have grown emotionally since Saturn entered Pisces, right? This is a retrograde. Saturn's going to be retrograde during this full moon. And with that retrograde motion, right, we're essentially we're going backward in that path. We're not literally going backward. You understand what I mean? We're still moving forward, right? But we're following that path backward toward that 0-degree point. Okay, it's went from 7 degrees back to 0 degrees, and then it will turn direct once again. But basically, it's almost like we are reflecting upon the ways in which we have been maturing emotionally. Even reflecting on my own life, I can see this. Consider yourself, consider how you have matured emotionally over the past few months. And with the conjunction here as well, this can look at feeling centered, okay? Self-control, steadiness, can look at a sense of, feeling more calm. And perhaps also there can be these levels of determination, right? Feeling more determined or feeling more inspired, feeling more like, you know what? Yes, I accept that I live the life that I live, but at the same time, there are still certain things that I can maybe do here. And again, that goes back to the whole free will fiat idea. Um, but yeah, I can't help but think that this is a full moon that is going to really bring up these themes quite heavily. Now, on the other hand, it could also be, okay, when we think about the opposition to the sun, okay, the sun is in Virgo, it could be low moods, overthinking too much in our heads. We're even noticing this with the Virgo stellium happening right now. Many of us have just been so caught up in our own heads, trying to process everything, reading too much into things. The Mercury retrograde, I think, is also going to, highlight these types of qualities. And then as well, this full moon can point toward us feeling removed from our identity, from our ego, from our sense of self. So I think in this way, trying to ground ourselves may be a beneficial thing. Um, yeah, but trying to get the balance, I think, of course, when it comes to full moons, it looks at that balance. It looks at the axis. It looks at how you can maybe join both of those energies together. Thinking then about, okay, your health, thinking about how you can center yourself during this full moon. And with that being said, our will may be challenged. Our will may be challenged by authority. It may be challenged by things which are actually outside of our control. Looking at possible distractions. Maybe this is a good opportunity to really see, like, what is distracting me in life. Consider even social media, how distracting that can be. But yeah, as I say, looking at dependencies, looking at the ways in which we escape, etc. Okay, so let's also then look at and explore Neptune. So Neptune is one of the dispositors of this full moon. There will be that opposition to Mercury retrograde and Pallas. So this only adds to the distraction. Okay, Mercury retrograde is, like I said, it's going to happen from the 23rd of August to the 15th of September. It's going to start from 21 degrees all the way back to 8 degrees. Now, the opposition between Neptune retrograde and Pallas is going to be much stronger than the opposition between Neptune retrograde and Mercury retrograde. So with Pallas looks at our strategic thinking, it looks at creative intelligence, it looks at our visualization. So these things may very well become just more just reading the words are more fluid. I need my glasses. More fluid, okay? Or it's that there will be less consistency. It could be that there's just more of this dreaminess. This is the thing I'm trying to say. This could very well be a full moon where it's like, right, try to just set some time aside to just visualize, dream, go inward. And I know that may not sound the most realistic, that may not sound the most practical, because we all can live such busy lives. I come back to this every time there's a new moon in Pisces, every time there's a full moon in Pisces, every time I talk about Pisces, I always feel like I need to just be to acknowledge that when it comes to such spiritual concepts, when it comes to things like looking after yourself, and when it comes to setting healthy boundaries, etc., I feel like I also need to mention the fact that it's not just this black and white thing, and that we can all just be so overwhelmed by all the many tasks and responsibilities that we have to do. And I think even with the Virgo stellium right now, we're noticing this. I mean, I feel as if this Virgo stellium leading up to this full moon in Pisces, it's really pointing toward just how much we are mentally like loaded, like overstimulated, like just too much going on, not just mentally, but also physically. And just following on from the past few months of just how, well, I'm going to be frank, just how chaotic it has been for so many of us. I just feel as if the Virgo energy is kind of saying, oh my gosh, I need to keep up. I need to keep up. I need to keep working. I need to keep, attending to my everyday tasks, my everyday needs. And that's actually okay, right? Because we all can go and get into these cycles in terms of, this is a phase, right? This is a phase where I need to work overtime. I need to do a bit more. But I think it's also being able to recognize whenever, we reach burnout, whenever we experience mental fatigue, whenever we push past our limitations, and we're just like, no, I don't care. I'm not going to listen to, what I need emotionally right now. Okay, full moon in Pisces, or um looking at our even sensitivity, I'm going to push past that, and I'm just going to follow my logic and just follow, right, this is the plan, this is the structure. I'll even just give you an example, right? I'll give you an example just to grind this a bit better. Okay, so currently on the channel, I am talking about fate and free will, as I say, and I've talked about the schools of astrology. I've talked also about Hellenistic versus modern day astrology. I definitely recommend those videos. They're long videos. They took me so long to create. Honestly, they're not really getting a lot of attention, a lot of love. I'm not that. I understand. But still, the whole point of these videos is to more than go into a different path in terms of, I want to explore other parts of astrology, okay? Which I'm not going to say exactly because it's kind of a surprise. But the point being, right? The point being, I had a plan, okay? The Virgo energy, I had a plan, right? This is the system. This is the thing that I'm going to do. And I'm going to stick to that system. But because today I got out of my head and into my body, I exercised. I actually had a clear head. I had a fresh perspective. Because of that fresh perspective, I was actually able to go, hold on a second. I was able to challenge my kind of one track mind and go, maybe I actually haven't thought of it in a certain way yet. Maybe I can allow for something else to come up. And so I had an idea that completely changed the system. So the ways in which I'm going to create the videos moving forward, it's actually changed. And that was because I was able to get out of my own way, to get out of my own head, and to more so, tap into my body, or to just take some time for myself. So anyway, I think this full moon in Pisces energy could very well usher in our ability to, in a way, I suppose, adapt, switch gears, to look at different options, or to even accept that there's a certain flow, or to hold fire a little bit. Even the retrogrades, we're in the middle of a retrograde summer. There's a lot of things here to do with slowing down, taking our time, just chewing it over, right? New ideas, chew it over, explore it a bit more. Just let it sink in. And the path will open up, but it's just taking some extra moments. So I think Neptune retrograde opposite Mercury retrograde is going to highlight some of these themes, especially with Pallas there as well. It's going to look at it, right? Okay, well, what isn't right, very clear right now? What's not clear to you right now? What maybe needs to be looked at again? What needs to be addressed with respect to your strategic thinking? Maybe it is about just taking a moment. Now, Mercury then also adds to this. Like I said, there can be the misdirection, there can be the mental confusion, head in a spin, compartmentalization can be made quite difficult, because it's like I'm trying to fit these things into a certain way, trying to compartmentalize my life. But no, the Neptune energy, Pisces energy is just going, well, it's not going to go according to plan. It's not going to go the way that you think. And that's actually okay. That can be okay. And then also looking at trying to make sense of things, which may be a lot trickier. Yeah, perhaps even just journaling could be beneficial. Meditating, for those of you who can meditate. I know there are many people who can't meditate, right? And then the other thing is, logic tied to Mercury can be challenged. So this is why I think with the full moon, it can be a day to explore the likes of spirituality, mythology, art, your dreams, what is fantasy, tapping into your imagination. Amor, you said as a Gemini, rising Virgo moon. Oh, you feel that? Yeah, so much Mercury energy, the logic in the head. Movement is how you leave the ramification too. Yeah, move the body into the body. Yeah. Perfect segue into Jupiter, because Jupiter is in Taurus. And, Taurus is very much an earth sign, okay? It's strongly linked to the body, strongly linked to our senses. And Jupiter, of course, is the other dispositor of this full moon. So it's going to make a square to Venus retrograde, and it's also going to make a trine to Mercury retrograde. Now, the square to Venus is going to be stronger, but Jupiter is in the stronger position with this. So during this full moon, consider, where have you been overdoing it over the past couple weeks? Especially when it comes to things like pleasure, luxury, money, work, socializing. Okay. And like I said, with the moon being in Libra right now, this is looking at balance, restoring some balance today. But this full moon can very well look at time to let some patterns and habits go, reconsidering your values, reconsidering your priorities. Do keep in mind that Jupiter is also going to turn retrograde in September. So the things in terms of overdoing it, these things are going to be reviewed, reassessed very soon, very, very soon. But I do think that the full moon can point toward just some release, just even being honest with ourselves. Pisces energy may not want to be the most honest. I'm going to be honest about that. Okay, Pisces energy can just be like, I'm going to bury my head in the sand. I'm not going to accept the challenging thing. I'm just going to live in my own delusional world. Delusion, right? How many times do we live in our own delusions? Because it's easier. It's easier just to lie to ourselves. It's easier just to, I don't want to do the hard thing. I'm just going to live in this comfortable patch over here, this comfortable spot over here. But then whenever we don't put those sort of barriers in place, or whenever we don't do anything to change our situation, then what happens is later on we're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a victim, and oh my gosh, everything's against me, and oh, it's terrible. I think these themes are going to come up. I'm being blunt about that. I think these themes are going to come up. So yeah, there can be the whole victimization when it comes to Pisces energy, where it's like, woe is me, nothing I do is ever good enough. I'm also kind of talking to myself here, okay? As someone who has Pisces in the 7th house, I'm sometimes blissfully unaware of my own delusions. And I need other people to tell me, Hannah, you're being delusional right now. Okay, they don't say I'm being delusional, but I think I need that, okay? I think I need people to just tell me straight, okay, what you're doing right now, it's not helping the situation. That's not happening right now. That's in your head. That's in your head. So, point being, these themes, okay? Virgo, Sun in Virgo, the moon in Pisces, these themes could very well come up for us. But like I said, reconsidering your values and your priorities as well. And I think that this has been huge with Venus retrograde in Leo over the past few weeks. Okay, so there's also the trine to Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is in the stronger position. And this trine happened around the 10th of August, so about 10 days ago, whenever Mercury was direct. So what came up for you with respect to your resources, your security, your services, your health? Okay, I'm thinking right now in my own life. I am thinking right now, and I don't want to just make everything about myself. So I'm not going to say anything. Okay, the last thing is revisiting such matters. And then if I go up to the top, yeah, anything to release, basically, with respect to these areas. All right, so I'm going to move on. Coming back over. So, Christina, you said you have your rising house in your 12th. Oh gosh, reading that, I'm like, I'm not really sure. I would need to look at things in terms of the chart. But you have changed dramatically with understanding your logical ways. Oh, you have a Libra rising. Okay. La LF, you said, same here, Christina. Are you? Okay. Never mind. Jupiter and Pisces, you can't escape delusion. Oh my gosh, no. David, oh my gosh, hello. How are you doing? Hi, welcome to this live stream. Christina, you said you feel that you are a Scorpio rising in many ways, but okay. Right, so we're going to move on then to the next slide. Like I said, there's going to be a bit of a grand Earth trine happening. Degrees are still quite okay. The orbs are wide when it comes to the degrees. So Pluto retrograde, which will trine Uranus and then Pallas. But the thing about Uranus and Pallas is that they are both 23 degrees. So this particular trine is going to be very, very strong during this full moon. And then with Uranus, that will also trine Mercury retrograde. So Neptune here shows, the Neptune influence is showing misdirection. But you see, Uranus here is stronger. It's stronger than Neptune during this full moon. So what this is going to add is elements of higher intellect and thinking for one's self. So this is a moon of using our analytical skills, our critical thinking skills. Of course, the sun will still be in Virgo. And sure, okay, such things may be challenged with the Neptune energy, with the Pisces energy. But I still think with this aspect between Uranus and Pallas, it's just going to highlight innovation, breakthroughs, staying true to our convictions, and then even the Pluto retrograde energy, it's going to add power, resilience, our ability to regenerate, reassessing our ability to overcome anything that creates crisis, looking at how we can come out of a crisis, looking at a renewal of sorts. Okay, this could be quite a powerful time, a powerful full moon for many of us. So there's still the earth energy coming along, and it's helping us be more practical, be more hands-on, be somewhat realistic and grounded during this full moon. Okay, so let me just check. Yeah, two more. Gabriella, you said blue moon is on your birthday. Oh, is it a blue moon during the full moon in Pisces? Oh, again, Gabriella, happy birthday to you for the 30th of August. Yeah, I said that at the very beginning, but I'm not sure if you're on or not. But yeah, happy birthday to you. David, you said hello. Thank you. Hi. Good stuff. I'm glad. Okay, right. So let's look then at Mars. Let's focus on Mars. So like I said, Mars will have entered Libra by this time period. So Mars is going to enter Libra on the 27th of August. And the thing about this is I will be making a video about this transit, about this shift. So that should be up during the week at some point. So Mars will enter Libra on the 27th of August, and this is going to usher in balance. Okay, a new strategy, alternative methods, getting feedback, getting truth, looking at intellectualism, being rational about our goals, about our passions, about our motivations. I even just think with Mars entering Libra, and then Libra season is just around the corner. You think about it, right? The retrogrades are going to all occur during the summer, so many retrogrades. But Mercury will turn direct on the 15th of September, and then Venus will turn direct on the 3rd of September. And this is going to be during Virgo season. But about a week after Mercury turns direct, what happens? Libra season begins, the autumn equinox. What I really enjoy about Libra season, about the autumn equinox, is our ability just to take a moment and to really do a review, to review the past 6 months, right? Beginning of Aries season, beginning of the astrological new year. It is time to just take a moment to kind of see, right, where am I along my journey? Like, how much have I changed, or what have I learned with respect to the past 6 months? What has really come up for me? Even thinking about any new intentions that you wish to set. And there will be a solar eclipse happening in Libra, right, during Libra season, which that's a whole other thing. But I think Mars in Libra is ushering in our ability to be somewhat assertive when it comes to balance. And then it's obviously going to join up with Ceres and the South Node. Of course, Ceres is there right now. It will be there during the full moon, and then the South Node in Libra. So Ceres shows the back and forth regarding caregiving and attachment. And then the South Node looks at making a decision. So instead of being indecisive, this is about being very much to the point in terms of what we want. Okay. And then with the trine to Vesta, there will also be that trine between the South Node and the Vesta, both at 25 degrees. We're noticing just a lot of like the same degrees. in terms of aspects, making things quite potent. But anyway, with that trine, I think that can look at focus, protection, sacrifice. And then with Mars, this is going to welcome more thoughts about our wants, desires, self-assertion, our willpower. Okay. So more information will come out to do with Mars in Libra, but do consider the Mars and Libra themes during the full moon amongst all of the delusions. Oh my gosh. Right. Okay. So the last part that I want to look at in terms of aspects before we get on to your horoscopes is to do with a couple of these inconjunctions. Now, there will be the inconjunction between Juno and the moon. Both will be 7 degrees. So this could very well look at the redirecting of commitment and trust. Seeing things unclearly. Are you seeing things unclearly? Are you seeing things with rose-colored glasses, right? Okay. Considering such things with respect to relationships. Okay. With respect to commitment. Even I'm gonna be honest here, okay, with Juno energy, it can look at some betrayal, okay? But it can be tied to betrayal. But really looking at that give and take, the back and forth, even that Mars and Libra energy is going to point toward that exchange in terms of relationships. So I think the inconjunction is going to come along. It's going to say, okay, are there any changes here? What needs to be redirected here? And then also considering our desires and our dreams being interfered with. Someone bursting our bubble. This full moon, it could look like, oh yeah, I would really, really like to achieve this thing. And then someone just comes along and goes, be a person, but it like a financial situation. Okay. It could be a limitation. It could just be that you need to be honest with yourself and just consider, okay, well, how are you going to get there? Maybe even that Virgo energy is coming along and it's saying, okay, I get it. You really want that thing. You have a dream, but how are you going to build toward that dream? How are you going to make it happen for yourself? And do so little by little. Just make those small changes. It doesn't have to be anything too drastic. Of course, it could be bigger depending on, for example, your financial situation, the resources that you have, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think that, yeah, it could be that there's certain realizations that will come up. And then also the in conjunction to Neptune, both will be 26 degrees, adding even more confusion. Denying the truth, escaping, running away from our issues, burying our heads in the sand, having to adjust ourselves in this way. Also, bravery adjustments, challenging ourselves to speak from the heart, even if it goes against everything that makes us feel comfortable. Do consider, even with Venus retrograde right now, there's been a lot of this, these themes to do with the heart, speaking from the heart. Okay, and looking even at any healing that's been happening with respect to our heart space. So yes, these are just a couple of aspects that I wanted to touch on during this full moon as well. But that's basically all of the aspects. But we're going to get into your horoscopes. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so Gabriella, you take Sun conjunct Moon, square Gemini. There's a lot of squares happening for you. Life's biggest lesson. We've got Saturn in Libra. Saturn is exalted in Libra. Life's biggest lesson is learning to calm down and go with the flow and trust your intuition because you're an uber. Yeah. See, yeah. I think even the Virgo energy, it can look at that, right? It can look at how it's like, right, okay, well, X, Y, and Z, this is the plan, this is the structure of it. I have a Virgo rising, so I can very much relate to what you're saying. But then my Pisces energy is like, no, just trust this. And then, see, I would freak out then whenever something is not going according to plan. Sort of like the alarm bells go off, and then the Virgo energy goes, oh, well, I need to fix it. I need to change it. I need to reorganize it again. But maybe if we can lean more toward that Pisces energy and just kind of go, right, let's just take it back here and not try to obsess here. Maybe it's just in your head. Yeah. Or maybe things are actually fine the way they are. and you just gotta trust that things are going to work out here. Okay. But then again, you could also lean more toward the Pisces part of it, right? See what I mean? Gabriella, you also said number 1 Pisces. I was saying Libra. When was I saying Libra? Hannah was saying Libra? For what part? Did I say something wrong? Oh, jeez. Amor, you said thank you. This is a good Sunday vibe. Awesome. Good. Happy to have you here. Okay, thank you so much for being here, everyone. And I do just want to say that the timestamps will be available at the very end of the session. You just need to give me a little bit of time at the end, and I will put the timestamps so then you can find your horoscope. I'm saying that especially to people who are not watching this live and you're watching this at a later stage. So I hope you're having a good weekend, everyone, so far. Hope it's going well for you. So let's get into your horoscopes. Aries. This full moon is going to take place in your 12th house. Okay, so the approach I want to take with things, I kind of want to explore the bigger picture a little bit for these horoscopes. And I want to just draw your attention to the fact that there's going to be the Sun and Mercury retrograde in the 6th house for you during this full moon. So I think leading up to this full moon, there will be a lot going on for you with respect to reorganizing your daily habits, reconsidering your tasks and your responsibilities, attending to your health, looking at diet, looking at your fitness levels, even your stress levels more so, okay? Taking a closer look at your stress levels. But then the full moon in Pisces is going to come along. And I think it's going to illuminate just more of this emotional release for you. Maybe it's that things will just, it's almost like things will build and build and build. And then this is going to be a good opportunity for you to just let out the emotions. The floodgates will open. Okay. It's just like, yeah, I just need a minute. Like, I just need a minute. This could very well be where you actually feel quite drained, honestly. You know, you feel quite drained around the full moon, or it could be that you just need to take a moment to recalibrate, you know, to go inward, to do more of that reflecting. And then the last thing I want to mention with this even is to do with how you will journal. Okay, imagine you may have many sort of big dreams or big ideas, but the Mercury retrograde, I think, opposite, even Pallas, keep in mind Pallas as well in Virgo, but I think it's going to highlight just hold that thought, okay? Just let things materialize gradually. Try not force things to happen super quickly. Taurus. So Taurus, this full moon is going to happen in your 11th house. So leading up to this full moon with Mercury retrograde and the sun being in Virgo, I think that there's a lot of reconsiderations happening here with respect to romance, love, for example, but then also readjusting the ways in which you create, looking at your creative projects, looking at the structures to things, how things function, how things operate, looking more closely at your creative projects and rethinking the ways in which you do things. And also looking at a sense of celebration, you know, how it is that you wish to celebrate yourself leading up to the full moon, you know, even thinking about the type of recognition, for example, that you receive for your services, for your work, etc., with the sun there. But then with the full moon happening in Pisces, well, like I said, this is going to happen in your 11th house. So perhaps there's something here about your communities, your networks, the teams you're a part of. They're going to kind of help take you away from your mind somewhat, or help support you through something that is emotionally challenging, perhaps. Or it could be that you feel like you need to turn to a friend or a group member as a way to gain some compassion or empathy. Perhaps even this is about taking part in some type of spiritual event with your friends, just getting together during this full moon and really looking at, right, okay, um, how about I look at the perspective, the bigger picture, the bigger perspective here in terms of my spiritual beliefs. And yeah, it could be that you feel really quite comforted by certain groups and clubs that you are a part of during this full moon. Gemini, so this full moon is going to happen in your 10th house. There's been a lot going on for you here with respect to your career. Oh, especially with the retrogrades, Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, a lot of reconstructing the ways in which you show up publicly, okay? The ways in which you show up professionally. But then you see with Virgo season, okay, coming into Virgo season with Mercury retrograde happening, a lot of having to revisit your family life, having to revisit what happens within your home, how you organize, how you clean. Okay, a lot of cleaning basically in the home, I see this as. But then also, I think just getting things in order, right? Getting things in order, making things nice and neat, making things quite in a very particular ways, right? In a very particular way that you are satisfied with. And maybe there's even a sense of satisfaction, right? You feel satisfied. It's like, yeah, you know what? I feel good about this. I want to spend more time at home with my family, with my loved ones, making traditions, these types of things during Virgo season. But then coming up to the full moon in Pisces in the 10th house, I think it's going to illuminate then something that's calling your attention when it comes to your profession. It could even be that there's something that you let go of, right? A certain image, a certain persona that you let go of. It could also be that you feel really very emotional about the end of a professional chapter, or it could be that you reap rewards even with respect to the hard work that you've been doing within your professional life during this time, okay? Even consider the fact that Saturn will still make that conjunction to the moon during this full moon. Cancer. Okay, Cancer. So this full moon is going to happen in your 9th house. So let's consider here, Cancer, how there will be Mercury retrograde and the Sun both in Virgo. Okay, so during Virgo season, Mercury will be retrograde. And so I think for you, a lot of what will be coming up here is really getting your facts straight. Okay, really thinking about what is the truth here. Trying to think over the facts and the details, having to use your analytical mind. Okay, you even have Virgo there in the 3rd, and you can be highly analytical people. But I think Mercury retrograde is, it's really looking at, okay, there's some type of event or a situation that needs to be looked at with great detail. Okay, and discernment as well, using great discernment during Virgo season. And perhaps as well, there's something here coming up to do with sibling relationships, cousins, looking at people who live within your local area. It could be that you have to retrace your steps when it comes to a certain conversation in terms of the feedback that you receive from someone else, or in terms of the feedback that you give to somebody else. Okay, looking at that exchange. And even considering here the wellness of a family member, the wellness of a sibling, the wellness of a cousin. So these things I think are coming up during Virgo season for you more strongly. But then with the moon, the full moon happening in the 9th house for you, well, I think it's going to really illuminate the bigger picture. It could even be here that there's something like legal based coming up, a legal matter, a certain trial that needs to be looked at more closely, or it could be that long distance travel really comes up for you in terms of, okay, you feel this itch, you feel this strong desire to want to travel or to explore somewhere new. But still, I think back to the bigger picture side of things, I think the full moon is going to really bring some type of um it's gonna shine a light basically on your beliefs, your morality, and honestly, it could be that such things are coming up because of an event or situation that isn't the most comfortable or hasn't been the most comfortable for you. I even think with Saturn right now in your ninth house, there's been a lot here to do with your belief systems and having to really retrace your steps, having to rethink and reconsider, what do I believe? What is the meaning of life? What is my meaning? These types of things I think have been quite strong. So yeah, the moon is going to illuminate these areas for you. Leo. Okay, Leo. So this full moon is going to happen in your 8th house. So let's think here about Virgo season to begin with. Do you know what? Actually, let's take a different approach for you, Leo, because Venus is retrograde and it's in your sign. So, of course, with the Venus retrograde, there's been so much, like so many changes happening for you in terms of your identity, your outlook, your priorities, your values. I think for you, you are on this kind of new trajectory, especially coming out. Well, we're still in Leo season now for another couple of days, but starting to come out of Leo season, a lot has been coming up for you on a very personal level, which, yeah, there's many rewards with this, many ups, let's just say. But then you see with Virgo season coming into Virgo season with Mercury retrograde and the Sun, well, this is going to highlight the ways in which you re-strategize, the ways in which you reorganize all of those habits, all of your habits that you do, which you perhaps value quite a bit. But maybe it's like, okay, it's time to reconsider these values, or these values which are strongly linked to your habits and your routines. Maybe also there's something here to do with your skills and your talents and little adjustments that you want to make, just little small changes. But of course, do just be cautious of becoming too caught up in overthinking or worrying or stressing yourself out, especially with even Pluto still being there in the sixth house for you with the retrograde. But then with the full moon happening in Pisces, this is going to take place in your 8th house, okay? So I think this is going to highlight then closing chapters to do with trust, commitment, even looking at any barriers, emotional barriers, which may actually be built out of a place of fear or out of a place of like trying to keep other people away, because there's something here that is highlighting needing to protect yourself. This is what I'm getting here. And so I think the full moon in Pisces is going to really illuminate these themes for you. What you can release when it comes to these things. But you know what? Also just possibly looking at what you can gain, what you can reap in terms of certain rewards. Even, looking at trust, for instance, intimacy, for instance. Maybe there are really like beneficial things that come from this full moon or take place during this full moon, because you feel like, yeah, I know myself so much more, even with that Venus retrograde again. Like there's just been so much happening for you with respect to your values. And even looking at the ways in which you relate to yourself, you relate to the world around you. Virgo. Okay, Virgo. So this full moon is going to happen in your 7th house. Virgo, I mean, this full moon is going to happen during your season, and Mercury is retrograde during your season as well. It begins at the very start of your season. Virgo, I'm going to say for you that this can be quite a powerful time period for you in terms of getting things sorted, getting things organized. It could very well be here, Virgo, that you're coming to this point during this Virgo season where you're finally starting to see, right, I get it. These things are going to plan, or I am much more organized than I have been since even, I'm going to say this, Virgo, even from the beginning of January. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I'm sort of drawing from my own experience with this. I don't want to project, obviously, my own experience onto you, but perhaps you can relate when I share this, okay? In that, even from the beginning of January, I think for many Virgos, it's just been this matter of, oh my gosh, it just feels like everything is falling apart, and I feel like I need to work extra hard, and I feel like I need to put in so much time right now. But you see, I think Virgo season is coming up, and it's saying you are so much more further on than you think. And maybe the full moon in Pisces is actually coming along, and it's saying, trust this process. And I know that you've been tested. Your patience is being well and truly tested. Saturn across from you, Virgo, it's just like, when am I ever going to catch a break? When are things going to be more structured here? I feel like everything is just falling apart. The thing is, things could very well be falling into place for you. And it could very well be that it's your own stress levels, it's your own worries, it's your own fears that have been, like giving you this perception that all is not well. Now, with that being said, if it is that, of course, there are very physical reasons. Of course, there can be very physical reasons here that can suggest, okay, worry, etc., stress, etc. But I think the full moon in Pisces is going to come along. It's going to go, okay, eliminating compassion, a bit of care here. All right, trying to sort of more so get you out of your head. Just trust this process. And it could very well be that this message comes through somebody else. Okay, this could come from a partner. This could come from a close friend. This message could be delivered by, I know for myself, a therapist. Okay, and that can be really very reassuring. Just taking a quick break because we're halfway there. Okay, and I want to read through these comments quickly. Okay, so Geminis. Oh, Geminis. I think is that how it says, Geminis? So yeah, I'm assuming you have a Gemini rising. Of course. Thank you for your feedback. Christina, Cancer, Sun, and Moon. You're about moving, and you're trying to think about how it will develop you for the better. Hope it does, Christina. Messages about house systems, though I do want to say, Rocchio, hello to you. Yeah, so this house system that we're using is the whole signs house system. Okay, meaning that each sign is going to be in a particular house. You're thinking about the Placidus system, so you're talking about intercepted houses, but then again, it could be using a different house system like Porphyry, but I'm assuming that you're using Placidus. So I use whole signs for the horoscopes. But if you do want, more in-depth information to do with astrology, to do with readings, you can always book a reading with me, hannahselsewhere.com. I can use the Placidus system if you like. And then also, Gabrielle, you said, yes, this year was a mess. Oh, come on, Virgos. Come on. I am wishing us a much better time of it. And then also, Christopher, you said you believe in infinite possibilities of the universe and you claim good things are coming. Okay, cool. Thank you. Of course. And David, you said your ascendant is in Libra. Oh, you have a Libra ascendant. Cool. Okay, so this is moving on to your ascendant then with this horoscope. Okay, and Gemini, so you said they're helpful. Good. I'm glad. That's what I want. I want these to be helpful. All right. Oh gosh, ancient wisdom channeling through me. Oh gosh, I don't. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. But thank you. That is appreciated. Thank you. That's really nice of you to say. But I don't personally see that. But anyway, so Libra. Let's move on to Libra. Libra, this full moon is going to happen in your 6th house. So let me just say for you, Libra, with Saturn firstly being in your 6th house from about March time, okay, for you, I think that it can just feel like there's been a lot of pressure work-wise, a lot of pressure when it comes to services that you provide. You're feeling it, right? And I think that this could look like you having to really work extra, or it could be that you're having to really reconstruct your routines and your habits, especially since March. And the thing about this is during Virgo season, the Sun and Mercury retrograde will be in your 12th house. So I think leading up to this full moon during Virgo season, it could very well look like you not feeling the most energized. It could be that, yes, there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot of work responsibilities, there's a lot of work obligations, but it's like underneath, right? Behind the scenes, when you're alone, it's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how I'm going to get through another week of this, another day of this. It's like, I'm having to constantly be on that type of way. But then, it could also be here with Virgo season. It points towards some type of escapism for you. And of course, escapism does not have to be seen through just a negative lens, right? This could be where it's like you need some time to yourself. You need to escape. You need to just release something, just to go on a retreat or do something that takes you away from your everyday life. Okay, these types of things may come up for you, and it could very well be that you need that during Virgo season. You need something just to take you away from your everyday life for a little bit, to help calm your nerves. Maybe even with Mercury retrograde, it's like, right, I'm going to revisit the ways in which I escape, etc., the ways in which I retreat, the ways in which I spend time alone. And that can be maybe really healing, really helpful, so on and so forth. And then also with the full moon happening then during the 30th of August. So I think during that full moon in Pisces, it's going to really illuminate, okay, what needs to be shed here, right? It could be where it's like, do you know what? I really enjoy spending this time doing X, Y, and Z. Why don't I just make that a part of my routines from now on? Why don't I just maybe let go of the pressures that I'm putting on myself, or certain pressures coming from coworkers and colleagues and certain projects, services, etc. You know what? Maybe I can wipe the slate clean, or maybe I can think of something new, or looking even at your health, right? Health could be coming up for you quite a bit during this full moon, Libra, and it's kind of saying, hold on a second, like, you need to pay attention to your health right now. And maybe your health then is somehow linked to what's happening more on an emotional level here. Okay. Even looking at the Mercury energy in in the house traditionally ruled by Pisces, I think that Mercury energy is also going to highlight anything that is like worrying you, being so caught up in just all of your overthinking and the many thoughts that you have, being flooded with it. So yeah, I think health could very well be eliminated, and then also looking at releasing, resetting, closing certain chapters to do with such things. Okay, so Scorpio, let's move on to you. This full moon is going to happen in your 5th house. So let me just start off by saying, for you, Scorpio, my goodness, the amount you've been putting out when it comes to your creativity, your hobbies. I think for you, especially Scorpio, what's been happening quite a bit for you since Saturn did enter Pisces, it's almost like any free time you have, it's to be spent doing something. It's to be spent, working on a certain project of yours, okay? Looking at free time here when it comes to the 5th house. Looking at leisure activities. And for you, Scorpio, with you having Pisces there in the 5th house, your leisure activities are sometimes, well, we notice this, they can be tied to spirituality, creativity, photography. Of course, that's a form of creativity, but you get where I'm coming from with this. So with Saturn there, it's almost like, oh my gosh, right, okay, I'm not working anymore. Right, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go work on my hobby. Going to do it consistently, which is great. This can be really, really good. Great, right? And then at the same time, with Mercury retrograde and the Sun happening in your 11th house, so looking at Virgo season, well, Scorpio, it could very well be that there's extra responsibilities amongst your teams, your groups. Let's even consider how the 11th house, it's very much tied to our profession as well. If you think about it, right? If you are a Scorpio and you're a Scorpio who is the manager within a particular shop or a restaurant, and you are dealing with many people every day, that looks at grips. That looks at a collection of people, many people that you're seeing. And the thing is that you often gravitate toward these roles where you are being of service in some way, where you are kind of helping people in practical ways. At the same time, Scorpio, you do want to be the boss, and you usually do fit very well into boss manager positions. You're made to be a manager, Scorpio. I'm telling you, Scorpio energy. It's like, I don't mean to, to give you a big head, but it's like you were made to be bosses, okay? Top dog type of energy. This is what I get from Scorpio. Anyway, I digress. I think this full moon in Pisces is going to come along and it's going to illuminate. All right, okay. What about the things that you do just for fun? What about enjoyment? Maybe there's certain parts here to do with releasing, shedding old skin, where it's like, right, okay, that does not align with me spiritually anymore. That doesn't actually bring me happiness anymore. I'm not actually feeling that anymore. I'm not enjoying it as much as I used to. How about I pivot? How about I try something else? Or, it could be that it's a great time for visualization. It's a great time to really dream, to come up with a new concept, a new idea with respect to your creativity. And then lastly, I want to say for you, Scorpio, in terms of romantic relationships, okay, even children is tied to the 5th house. Perhaps there's something quite emotional that comes up for you with respect to love. Okay, and I think things have been quite serious for you, let's just say, when it comes to love and romance lately. Certain commitments, even looking at those conversations to do with children, it's been coming up possibly for you, okay, looking at children again. But again, illuminating then these areas. Okay, I think for you, you will possibly close some chapters. Okay, you will release shadowed skin when it comes to the ways in which you act within romantic relationships, or even looking at the romantic partners that you choose, etc. Yeah, so that's what I want to say for you, Scorpio. Though I do feel the need to mention just through the comments, because people are talking. I don't want to let things get too far away. Brandy, or no, sorry, Rokio intercepted houses. Okay, that's a whole thing, Rokio, that I don't have time for today. Though, to be fair, there is a question and answer section at the very end. It's actually $10 per question, though, just to let you know. That's going to be at the very end. Brandy, hi, Brandy. You've got your sun in Scorpio and your rising in Scorpio. Oh, cool. Scorpio right here. Christopher, Scorpio as well. David, you said Libra notes make sense. Okay. Particular sense March. Okay, interesting. That's so cool that you have a Libra rising. Gabriella, you said, thank you, Hannah. You make it real. Thank you. I like to make things practical, I guess. Christina, I'm sure Hannah can explain better, but that's again looking at houses there. But thank you, Christina, for jumping in to try and explain interceptions and house systems, etc. Brandy, you said you're starting to choose to enjoy personal time, art, spending time with your hobby, instead of feeling guilty for not consistently working. Wow. Yes. And this full moon could very well illuminate these things for you, Brandy. Love it. Right, so we're on to the last 4 horoscopes, the last 4 signs today. Let's move on to Sagittarius. This full moon is going to happen in your 4th house. So let's take a step back here. Let's think about, for example, Saturn being in your 4th house from March. Delays. Sagittarius. I've noticed this with Sagittarians within my life, especially Sagittarius rising folks in my life. The delays when it comes to housing, property, family matters. A lot of waiting. That's the thing with Saturn energy. It can also suggest waiting, delays, etc. And then I would also say with this, just the amount of patience that has been required from you, Sagittarius, which typically is not something that you like. Okay. But anyway, the other thing is during Virgo season, so leading up to this full moon in Pisces, Mercury will be retrograde in Virgo as well. So I think there's something here about you being reacquainted. Is that the term? Reacquainted, so to speak, with certain tasks at work, looking at your professional life through more of a detail-oriented lens, having to really be super, super cautious about timings, etc., looking at your schedules, your routines, but having to really analyze everything because this is all happening with respect to your career, your professional life, your life's work, your reputation. I just see this as you being so incredibly busy, Sagittarius. So busy. Busy when it comes to your professional life, busy when it comes to your family life. These two very big pillars in our lives, right? Where it's you're just not getting a minute. Okay. But I think also this can welcome then some type of feelings of joy and celebration, and actually feeling somewhat uplifted about things. Okay. And I would even say with the North Node, bringing the North Node for you, Sagittarius, with the North Node being in your 5th house right now, I think it is inviting, okay, take some time off to yourself, reconnecting with the things that bring you joy and happiness here, doing something for yourself rather than for everybody else, Sagittarius. And then with the full moon happening in Pisces at the end of August, I think this is going to highlight your ability to shed old skin when it comes to any lack of boundaries, when it comes to anything that is not doing it for you emotionally, even thinking about family matters. Okay, we're noticing just these possible difficulties and struggles when it comes to family matters for you, Sagittarius, where it's just not getting on the same page, just not feeling it right now when it comes to certain family members. But the moon coming along, it's going to really illuminate these things for you, and it's kind of going to go, right, okay, really be serious here about what it is that you need to close, what it is that you need to shed, and also what it is that you need to let out emotionally, just to cry or get something off your chest, or to be even emotionally honest with someone about how you feel. Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn. So the full moon in Pisces is going to happen in your 3rd house. So let's consider the Virgo energy to begin with in your 9th house. I think for you, Capricorn, there's a lot that you will be revisiting with respect to the likes of your higher learning, your higher knowledge. What I think, well, throughout Virgo season, just to be specific there, but what I think is, well, something I really like about Capricorns is it's your ability to break down wider concepts so well. So well. You can break down the bigger picture. Okay. You can look at a very abstract way of thinking. You can look at perhaps even something quite philosophical, which I have been looking more into philosophy lately, and it's not easy. But anyway, you can look into these areas, right? And you can break them down so well. It seems somewhat flawless. Okay. Tooting your I am is it tooting your horn? Is that the term? Or I'm inflating your ego maybe a little bit here, Capricorn. Kind of similar to what I was doing with Scorpio. But the point being, right, I think the Virgo season is going to perhaps just highlight your ability to break down bigger themes and to revisit these themes as well. Maybe this is about you taking on some extra training, taking on some type of new learning program, or adding to the learning that you're already doing, or adding to the knowledge that you're already taking in, and sharing as well. Now, the Mercury retrograde, it may not be necessarily about sharing all that much. Maybe it is about, okay, time to digest, time to take it in, time to do more research, time to relearn that thing. These types of things I think will come up for you. And, it could also be where a bit of travel is on the cards for you, Capricorn. You're itching to get away. You're like, I need a holiday. Or it's that you want to go on an adventure, or you just want to do something that is outside of your comfort zone. You're going to plan, you're still going to plan and strategize and be smart about it. But yeah, I think these themes may come up for you throughout Virgo season. But then you see, with the full moon happening in your 3rd house here at the end of August, I think this is going to highlight, well, some emotional discussion, okay? An emotional discussion with a sibling, okay? An emotional discussion with perhaps a cousin of yours there, okay? Hard discussion, a serious discussion, but as a way to get clarity, perhaps. Or maybe for you, it's having to really consider, right, these are the facts. Like, these are the facts, and this is the information, and this is how you get from A to B. And it could very well be that with Saturn there in your 3rd house, you've been learning a great deal of, about, okay, I need to make sure that I have basic knowledge about certain areas, about certain subjects. I need to make sure that everything makes sense to me. But the moon in Pisces, I think, is going to add more of this somewhat emotional feel, or just even releasing something that is bothering you emotionally, even when it comes to learning and sharing. And yeah, I just think it's a good opportunity just to be somewhat honest about the facts and the details and the information. Yeah, these things may come up for you, Capricorn. Moving on then to Aquarius. So Aquarius, this full moon is going to happen in your 2nd house. Whew, all right, so let's consider, for example, here, Aquarius, to begin with, Saturn in your 2nd house. Let's consider the delays. Delays, once again, when it comes to Saturn. The delays when it comes to your resources. The delays when it comes to the paycheck, your money. Okay? It's like, come on, when's it coming? When's it coming? Why are there so many delays? Right? And then with Virgo season, coming up here, I think this is going to be an opportunity for you to explore, okay, to explore how about combining resources? How about combining my skills and my services with other people? What can they teach me? What am I not realizing? What am I not seeing? And being able to investigate, being able to research, being able to dive deeper into things and to see, okay, what have I not thought of yet? And how can other people help me? Especially when it comes to these delays that, we're talking about here. Or even looking here at the more psychological and emotional sides to the eighth house in terms of reaching out for some type of help or guidance from someone who knows what they're talking about professionally. And that can even assist you when it comes to your self-worth, okay, when it comes to your self-esteem. Even looking at the body there as well, part of the second house is tied to the body. And with the full moon then happening in your second house, I think it could very well look at you closing some chapters should do with anything that's too defeating, self-defeating, especially self-defeating with respect to your self-worth, right? I think for you, Aquarius, there's been a lot basically coming up to do with having a stronger sense of self and valuing yourself. But that may be actually quite challenging for you because you're so used to giving of yourself to others, right? Aquarius energy, looking at society, humanity. I want to give back to people. I want to share. I want to just spread all my knowledge to the world. I want to do it freely, etc., etc. And I'm not saying to not do that, but I think Saturn coming along, it's kind of there's something here about Saturn just highlighting how about you also consider what it is that you need and following even your own bliss, so to speak. And then with the full moon happening, perhaps you will be resetting things to do with these themes, basically. And perhaps even you will feel quite strongly, feeling quite strongly about, these are my gifts, these are my skills, and I really I want to be recognized for them, or, I really want to take things to the next level. But I think that Pisces moon is just welcoming some type of compassion, softness, a gentleness. Pisces energy is just calm, serenity. Be gentle. Be kind to yourself, Aquarius. And lastly, Pisces. So Pisces, this is your full moon, okay? Because the full moon is happening in your sign. It's going to happen in your first house. Pisces, what can I say for you? The amount of changes that have been coming up for you since March, right? In terms of your identity, in terms of your overall outlook. Okay, I think for you, there have been many questions, questions about why am I here? What's my meaning? What's my purpose? What about my life path? And I think perhaps as well, it's looking at those changes, but doing so in a way where you're being a bit more serious with yourself, or you're having more of this stricter routine, or being somewhat more disciplined. Saturn entering your sign, it's bringing a lot more structure, a lot more structure to your life, which can be beneficial. But I guess the thing with this is also trying to be cautious of times whenever you fall into a state of oh, it's not worth it, or it's all my fault, or, I'm such a victim, or, just martyring yourself, or thinking the whole world is against you, these types of thoughts. And it could be that there are literal, practical reasons for why, it feels like the world is just against you. It could be that, right? But I still think this moon entering your sign, this full moon coming along, it's going to welcome more of this sort of coming home to yourself, so to speak. Being able to go within and to just kind of go, you know what, this is how I'm feeling right now. I just need to own my own emotions here. And I even think that the Virgo energy with Virgo season happening across from you, it's kind of going to be reflecting this. It's going to be reflecting, try and not give in to projections or like blaming the whole world for X, Y, and Z. Like I said, there could be very valid reasons for why it's like you're saying to someone, you know what I mean? Like you're being disrespectful. But I still think Virgo season is highlighting this whole part of it where it's like, okay, bring it back to yourself. Okay. Bring it back to your own sense of calm and serenity. Go back to the whole spiritual side of it, right? In terms of, meditating or perhaps, just reconnecting with your spiritual methods, whatever you do, right? Whatever you do, Pisces, as a way to recenter yourself or as a way to connect more with your spiritual self. And then the last thing I want to say with this is, of course, Mercury retrograde will still be happening there in the opposite sign. So what I would say with this is just to take your time, let's think about the 7th house as well further in terms of relationships. Okay, it can look at the other, it can look at partners, close friends, even certain relatives, right? So think it through. That is what I'm going to say for you, Pisces. Just think it through. Give yourself some time in terms of making a decision. Okay, maybe this is about being able to slow things down a little bit with respect to decision making. And it could even be that logic and reason is kind of Mercury right now or during the full moon, okay? Like I was trying to say earlier. So yes, perhaps these themes will come up for you. David, you said you have do you have Mercury, Venus, and Sun in Pisces? Like I know you're a Pisces. By the way, say hello to Nicola for me. And then so I'm assuming you said you have Mercury, Venus, and the Sun in Pisces. So you have a Pisces stellium. Interesting. And then Roxana, you said what if the full moon is exactly on the moon in a composite chart? Well, this is a perfect segue in terms of questions. So if anybody has a question about their chart or about the full moon, in terms of your own chart, you can ask me a question for $10 if you like. But yeah, this is just a Q&A if you do have questions, but no pressure. Okay, completely up to you. But basically, everyone, that's your horoscopes. That is the full moon in Pisces. Thank you so much for being here. Just want to say thank you. And I hope you all have a lovely rest of your Sunday. I'm just organizing my notes. If nobody has a question for me, that's completely fine. That is fine. But I do hope that you find the video to be helpful, this live stream to be helpful. That is always part of my goal. Okay, part of my purpose is for things to be helpful, to things to be simplified, broken down in practical ways. Amor, have a great week to you as well. And Geminis, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, have a great week as well to you, Amor. Okay, so I'm assuming no one has a question, which is completely fine. That's completely fine. But I do want to make you aware of just some astrology products before I close off. So you can find my astrology guide, cheat sheets, my astrology ebooks available at hannahselsewhere.com. You can also find them on Etsy. I also have merch available as well over at hannahselsewhere.com. And respectfully, you can book a reading with me by going to hannahselsewhere.com. And if you did enjoy this live stream, you can always buy me a coffee. Okay, you can always buy me a coffee. And thank you so much for listening. Oh, thank you so much, Geminis. David, this is very worth tuning in for. We'll definitely tuning in. Awesome. Thank you so much for your support, David. Thank you. Yeah, so basically that is the full moon. Awesome. Geminis. Yeah, readings. Good stuff. Yeah, so that's me. I just want to say again, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time this evening. And I hope that you have a successful week ahead of you. And with that being said, definitely make sure to give this video a like if you did like it. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. All that good stuff. And I will be back with another video very soon. Have a lovely week, everyone. Bye!